Hey, Dave Ferry here. Welcome to this edition of the Trackside Modeler. In this video, we're going to watch Albert Rademacher, the man who invented Silflor, use his products to produce a very realistic, small, scenic diorama. The base for the diorama is a piece of 2-inch styrofoam. Albert has taken the foam and he shaped it by using files to create the furrows in the field and using sandpaper to create the shape of the road with ditches on either side. To hold the Silflor in place, Albert uses a glue called Tessa. The closest thing available to Tessa glue is made by Beacon Adhesives and sold in the United States as Beacon's 3-in-1 craft glue and Fabri-Tac. Now Albert has placed all of his grass pathways in the furrows of the field. He's placed a few along the edge of the road, and now he's filling in between them with buffalo grass. He likes to use the buffalo grass because it has a different color and a different texture than the grass pathways and provides a little interest to the edge of the road. He's now adding a different color and a different texture grass pathway to accent the edge of the road and to provide a place where he can add weeds and other colors of buffalo grass for an interesting effect. Here Albert is adding an autumn tone prairie tuff between the grass pathways just for a little variety. This material that Albert's using is called horsetail foliage, and it's really interesting because you can just take a little piece of it and stretch it in your fingers to create a three-dimensional bush. And here Albert's just taking it in the tweezers and pushing it into the styrofoam to hold it in place. There's no glue applied here. When we get a chance to see this up close, you'll see that it has a very three-dimensional branch structure with leaf texture on every branch. Now Albert is fitting the pasture in place. The product he's using is Silflor's high pasture grass mat. Try saying that 3 times. He's holding it in place and fitting a piece of grass pathways along the edge to try to get an idea how the final edge will look. He's also taken scissors and he's undercut the edge of the high pasture grass mat on a 45-degree angle so that he can fold the edge down so that there won't be an abrupt change going from a flat surface to the high grass area. He's only applying glue to the very edge of the pasture mat, and using his fingers he's pushing or coaxing the edges of the mat into place so that they lay flat against the foam. And he'll do this around every edge of the pasture. The nice thing about using the pasture mat material is if you have to add a piece, in this case to fill in the corner, you can put some glue on the piece, you can push it up into place and then kind of smush the grass fibers with your fingers together so that you get a perfect match. Now on this area, Albert is adding a piece of Silflor flowering meadows. This will add a different type of grass with the flower texture and flower colors on the surface. It's kind of a nice change from the green grass of the field. As with all these pieces, Tessa glue is used to hold them in place, and Tessa, as I said before, is like a thin airplane cement that works very well for holding these soft foliage materials in place. You can push them in place, then hold them for a few seconds with your fingers, and they'll stay exactly where you put them. Now Albert is going to cut some pieces from the flowering meadows, and he's going to lay them in beside the pathway. He's laying them right into the pasture grass mat and using the texture of the pasture grass mat to hold the pieces of flowering meadow in place. He's also added prairie tufts and a few pieces of horsetail foliage to round out the looks of weeds at the side of the path. Now Albert's going to install some flowers on this little diorama, and he's looking around. He's selected the late summer goldenrod weeds, and these are kind of double-ended, and you cut them down the middle and put them in a little bunch in your fingers, and you can see here Albert's just sticking them directly into the foam. Now he's taking a ball of leaf flake foliage. The color he's using is summer maple, and he's put it into a ball so that it looks like a tree, and he's gluing it directly onto the pasture surface and using the tweezers to kind of push it down and keep it in place. You could do the same thing if you didn't have leaf foliage by taking a piece of super tree armature and spraying it with glue and then applying either knock leaf material or applying just plain green ground foam to the surface. As a finishing touch, Albert is applying a tree armature. He's going to put it at the corner of the diorama because it's visually a nice spot for the tree. And you'll see the armature is made out of bundles of wire. After the tree is set in place, Albert will cover it with leaf flake foliage, which is a green color, and it'll serve to finish off the diorama. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed watching Albert build this little diorama. So that's it. This is Dave Frary for the Trackside Modeler. I hope you enjoyed this video. So long.